Good everyone, my name is Graphics. Today we would like to be looking at the basic concept of integration. Now when you see this symbol here, it is called our integral sign, right? And if we are told to integrate x to the power of n, right? dx. The dx there means that we are integrating with respect to x, right? So it means that for you to integrate, it means you are going to add 1 to the power of x, which is n, and you divide by the power of x, which will now be what? N plus 1, right? So you put plus c, which is an arbitrary constant that shows you what you've integrated. This is the general formula for what integration. Now let's take different scenarios. Case 1. If you are told to integrate x squared dx. Now, like I said earlier, you are going to add 1 to the power and you divide by the power. That shows you've integrated. So I'll be having x raised to power 2 plus 1 all over 2 plus 1 plus what? Plus c. Now when you add 2 plus 1, you'll be having 3. So we'll be having s cubed all over 3 plus c, right? Now let's imagine we are told to integrate 3 dx, right? Now, since 3 is a constant, I am going to take it out of the integral sign. And I'm going to be having 3 integral what? dx, right? Now, in front of dx, we have 1, right? And since we're integrating with respect to x, it means that we can write as saying 1 can be also be written as what? X to the power of what? 0. Now, that is what we need. If you add 1 to the power, which is 0, that is 0 plus 1, you now divide by the power, which is also what? 0 plus 1. And this will give us 3x 0 plus 1 all over 0 plus 1 plus c to show we have what integrated. So when you add 0 plus 1, you have 1. x to the power 1 is x, so we'll be having 3x plus c, right? Now, example 3. If we are told to integrate 8x cubed dx, or let me say integrate 8t cubed dt. Now the t there simply means that we are integrating related to what? To t. So I'm going to bring my 8 outside to show that we are focusing on what? On t. Now if I want to integrate, I will add 1 to the power of t, which is 3 plus 1, all over the power, which is what? 3 plus 1, which will give us 4. So we're having 8 into bracket t to the power of 4 all over 4 plus c. Now 4 can go in 8 2, so we're left with what? 2t to the power of 4 plus c. That is in terms of what? Case 1. Now case 2, we'll be dealing with exponential function. Now if we are told to integrate e exponential x to the power of n dx, that is e to the power of x to n, right? We'll call that symbol epsilon, right? To the power of x raised to power n dx. Now what you do is this. What this simply means, to give you a little understanding about that, is that you are going to differentiate the power, right? So if you differentiate s to the power of n, you'll be having ns raised to power n minus 1. This is just the summary of what you do. So you leave the power, which is x to the power of n, the way it is, but you now use the differential form of the power and use it as what? As the denominator. Let's take an example. Now, if I have the integral of e to the power of x to the power of 3, right? The x. The e there, like I said, is exponential function there. And when you want to integrate that, you're going to write back e to the power of s to the power of 3 all over. Now you now differentiate the power, which is s cubed, right? So when you differentiate the power of s cubed, you're going to be having 3x squared, then plus c. Whenever you're given an exponential function, you differentiate the power and you divide it by the differential form of the power, right? So we have this. Now let's try another one again. What if I have the integral of 48 e raised to the power of what? 8t cube dt. So I'm putting dt because we are differentiating with respect to what? To t. Now since we're focusing on t, I'll bring out my 48 out. I can separate 8t cube from the e there, so they are together. Now when I bring it out, now I will now integrate e to the power of what? 8t cube. Now this will give me, if you differentiate that, you write out what you have, 48e to the power of 8t cube all over. Now if you differentiate 8t cube, you'll be having 24t squared, right? Which I understand. That means you bring the 3 down to multiply the 8 and you subtract 1. So you'll be having 24t squared. Then you put your plus c to show you of what you have integrated. Now 24 in here 1, in 48 2. So my answer will now give me 2e to the power of 8t cube over t squared plus c. That is my answer. So this is how you go about exponential integration of what? Exponential function. Now let's talk about the case 3 now, which is the differentiation of what? The integration of what? Trigonometry functions. Now, if we're told to integrate cos x dx, we're going to be having sine x plus c. Similarly, integral of what? Cos x squared dx. Now, this is now different. On a normal day, if you integrate this, if you integrate cos x, with integrate cos, you're going to be having sine, right? So if I have cos x squared, I'll be having sine x squared. Now, it will not end that way. You now differentiate the variable in front of it. What is the variable in front of it? That is x squared. So when you differentiate x squared, we're having what? 2x. Now you divide it by the differential form of what is in front of the sign, which is 2x, right? So you put plus c to show you what you have integrated, right? Now let's try another one again. What about if you now have 3 in the find the integral of what? 3 cos 3x dx. Now the x means we're focusing on what? On x. And you cannot separate x from 3, neither can you separate 3x from cos, right? Whatever is in front of the cos, you cannot remove it. But the 3 in front of the behind the cos, 3x can be separated. So I'll bring out the 3 out. When I bring the 3 out, I'll be having 3 integral what? Cos 3x dx. Now when you integrate cos, you'll be having sine. So if you divide cos 3x, you'll be having sine 3x. So I'll be having 3 sine 3x, right? Now, you now differentiate what's in front of the cos, which is 3x. And that'll give us what? 3. So I'll be having 3 cos 3x all over what? 3 plus c. Now, 3 in here, 1. 3 in here, 1. We're left with what? Sine 3x plus c, right? Similarly, we are told to integrate sine x dx. So when you move from sine to cos, it will give you what? Negative cos x dx. Negative cos x plus what? Plus c, right? So this is for that function. Now let's now take this example. Integrate 4 sine 2t dt. Now we're focusing on what? T, because we're integrating with respect to what? To t. So I'll be having, I'll bring out the 4. So I'll be having 4 integral sine 2t dt. Now when you integrate sine 2t, we're having minus cos 2t. Don't forget the 4 is outside there waiting. Now you now differentiate what is in front of the sign, which is 2t, and that will give us what? T. That will give us what? 2. Then plus what? Plus c. Now 2 in here, 1 in here, 2. So we'll be left with what? Minus 2 cos 2t plus c. So this is what we'll be having as our answer there. So the other functions that you should know very well is, if we integrate sec square x dx, we'll be having tan x plus c. If we integrate sec x tan x, we'll be having sec x plus c. If we integrate minus cosec square x, we'll be having cot x plus c. So let's move into logarithmic function. So the logarithmic function, whenever you are integrating 1 over x, you'll be having ln x, right? So what simply is telling us is this. If you differentiate the denominator and you are having the numerator, now let me simplify that term. The denominator is what is below the division sign. The numerator is what is above the division sign. So 1 is above and x is below. If you differentiate x and you're having 1, your answer will be what? Ln of what is below, which is x. So we're having ln x. Now let's try for sine x over cos x. If I differentiate cos x, I'll be having sine x, right? And sine x is on top, right? So I'll be having ln of what is below, which is what? Ln cos x. You get the logic now? Now what about when I have the integral of 1 over what? 3x, right? Now, if I bring out the 3, I'll be having 1 over 3 integral 1 over x dx, right? So well, we know that the integral of 1 over x is what? Is ln x. So we're having 1 over 3 ln x. Then you put what? Your plus c. Is that okay? So whenever you're differentiating the numerator, the denominator, and you're having the numerator, or whenever you're differentiating what is below the division sign and you're having what is above the division sign, your answer will be ln of what is below the division sign. Is that okay? So if you found this video helpful, or if you feel you've learned something in this video, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.